Hello and welcome to Yahki. Let's have a look at how students use Yahki in simple ways as 21st century learners. Here we have a young student, Rebecca. She's studying the Stone Age and Iron Age. Rebecca uses Yahki for her research. Like many students and teachers, she finds herself at Google. She searches on the topic and she finds this site. So Rebecca clicks on the Yahki Collect icon here, which brings up a toolbar enabling her to go to that particular picture of interest and collect it. And this is where Yahki kicks in. She can create a folder on her topic. We call them sets. She creates her history set and she calls this her timeline. Collects it. She notices that there's this use of the phrase KYA, and she's not sure what KYA means. So she goes to another site and looks up what does KYA stand for. So she collects that as well, and then highlighting and collecting that text, which she's going to put into her history folder or set again. We'll come back to that. Here's Rebecca's profile on Yahki. Another thing that students do in Yahki is ask questions. Rebecca decides to ask questions as a student. When she's creating her work, she's prompted to add tags on her topic. This in itself is a great skill for students to learn. It also reinforces their keywords in topics. And now she's going to develop some questions. Her first question is, how did life change in the Iron Age? And she's going to put that question out there straight away. Because she's working in what we call the Yahki channel, her teacher and her peers in her class will see that question, and they will be able to give their answers and ideas to assist Rebecca. She thinks of another question that she's going to research with her peers or on her own. And so she comes up with this question, what things were made of iron? And maybe one more question, how was iron made in the Iron Age? Now this could be the teacher setting these questions, but here the teacher is actually asking the students to come up with their own questions. So far, Rebecca has been able to begin her research on prehistory. She has started to ask some questions, which she will shortly pose for her peers and teacher. Rebecca may want to collect some additional sources of information on her topic. So she clicks on the icon here from Google. Yahki talks to Google. Here she decides to focus on Iron Age and art, because this is an area of interest. She clicks on the Google images and she finds examples of Iron Age art. She finds this quite interesting and this as well. So she collects them and adds them to her research palette. Here we see them. She decides to add a caption for this. At this stage, she leaves herself a task. I need to find out what this art is. She decides to give her task a tag, WIP. Yahki schools use this often to show that the student is still in a work in progress mode. So students and teachers who see her work will know that Rebecca is still working on it. There is in Yahki this strong ability for students to work in stages rather than working secretly and then divulging their work at the last minute. Rebecca decides it would be useful to view video about the Iron Age. And so she goes to the palette on the left here and drags in the YouTube search on the Iron Age. Yahki connects with YouTube as well, and here she sees a video on Celtic life in the Iron Age, which she finds interesting. She could watch the video. Students use Yahki to assess different sources, and she finds this video to be quite relevant. So she selects it and adds that to her Yahki work. As part of her research later on, she could come back and edit the video to just the section that she wants her audience to focus on. We'll come back and have a look at that later. So Rebecca has been able to begin her research of the Iron Age, starting in Google, finding a timeline, collecting the timeline, being able to find a definition of KYA and adding that to her Yahki collection as well. She's gone in and created a Yahki research page on the Iron Age. She's added some tags which relate to her understanding of the topic and also indicating that it's a work in progress. She has added a video which she will come back and edit. She has been able to pose 3 questions on the topic to assist her in her research, and her peers can soon work on answering or discussing those questions. And she's found some pictures of artifacts from the Iron Age. She also has created a set, as we mentioned earlier, on history, which is sitting over here to the right hand side. And so now she's able to simply drag her timeline and the definition of KYA to her Yahki research screen. So it's all coming together. Rebecca decides at this stage to publish this research outline to her class page. So she clicks Publish Story. She selects a thumbnail, which is an important skill for primary school children to develop as they start to think figuratively about their topic. She selects a domain, this being history and culture, and publishes that. And here we can see Rebecca's research piece on the Iron Age. You might be curious and want to see what that looks like. And here we are. Yahki renders her work. Here it is. And she can go back as a student, of course, and edit this story further. She can change the thumbnail. And you'll notice that she's not the first student to have a history, research, or work in progress as tags in her work. And so she could already start to click through and see what other students have been writing on this topic. And perhaps soon, Iron Age and prehistory will also light up. And so she can start to see what other students are doing in relation to that topic. Here we had the questions that Rebecca posed. How did life change in the Iron Age? When a teacher or other students in the class see these questions, they can click on each one, and that question will then present in a new frame without leaving the original story. And the teacher or other students can start to add their answers or comments on that question. Let's see what it looks like when other students add their comments. Rebecca can now see that she's received 3 notifications. She has a look. She can see that Penny Wu has left some comments on her research page on the Iron Age. She sees that someone has commented on her question. Penny Wu has given her thoughts. And here some clues on how iron was made. Rebecca thanks Penny. And so here we have 21st century collaboration between students in their study of the Iron Age in primary school or elementary school. While thanking Penny, Rebecca can look at Penny's work and see some of the items that she has been collecting in her studies. Rebecca can see the videos that Penny has been collecting, and her interest in whales is very clear. She can also see the texts that Penny has been writing. Rebecca can see that Penny has been writing about pugs. Rebecca also likes pugs, and so Rebecca likes Penny's comment about their remarkable personalities. Rebecca might also want to collect that statement and use it in work that she's doing on pugs as well. So once again, Yahki asks which set or folder Rebecca would like to add the comment from Penny in. And so she decides to put it in her My Life folder. And so learning and collaboration is authentic between peers in a safe, ring-fenced school channel environment. Similarly, people viewing Rebecca's work can click on the various items, or in this case, historical sources, which she has put here, and add their comments, and sometimes add hints or give support to Rebecca for her learning. When Rebecca has finished her assignment, or when she's at the point that she would like to submit it to her teacher, she can hit the Submit button, and that will automatically go to the teacher's attention. Or, if preferred, she can email the assignment to the teacher. It really depends on the school's policy, but typically, students submit their work within Yahki, and teachers will receive a notification and access and assess the student's work within Yahki. And so I will conclude this Yahki session by making some very important incidental comments. In this session we saw Rebecca working on her research on the Iron Age, you would agree that she was engaged in various stages of what you could call the information process, or as known in the United States as Big Six. Rebecca was very much engaged in information literacy, and she was challenged in terms of her information literacy, which is one of the great benefits of Yahki, particularly in the age of new national curriculum, which point to higher order thinking skills and the ability to think critically about information. For example, as we see in the requirements of Common Core in the United States and the requirements of students to be able to analyze and evaluate information. So let me point out a few things that are very pertinent to this. When the student collects information and adds it to Yahki, you may have wondered if they were just cutting and pasting. That's not the case. Yahki reinforces the importance of students citing their sources. And so whenever Rebecca was collecting information from websites, as in this case, or where she was collecting the videos, or where she was getting images from Google, all of the metadata from the source site carries into Yahki. We click once, as we saw, and students can engage in a discussion, a threaded discussion about that particular item. But if you click a second time, the visitor is actually taken through to the original website. In this case, a news article about this gold collar that was found in the Iron Age. And that will open in a new browser window. You may have other questions about related topics of e-safety or how to establish the Yahki education channel for your school. You go to Yahki and click on the index. You'll find out more about the education channels at this link. And in terms of other tutorials that you may find helpful in your wider use of Yahki with your students or for yourself professionally as an educator, I suggest you search on Stories Yahki FAQ. Here you'll find a treasure trove of tutorials just like this one on popular topics such as how to set up your education channel, annotating and captions and descriptions in Yahki, Yahki and e-safety, using Yahki as a curation tool, as a mashup tool, and using Yahki to share collegially or between students. Thank you.